Well, I know now from praying, because I've been
Mm,
doing a lot of praying, that it's the practice that's the important part. And although everybody wants it to be the show, that's the important part. It's the practice that's the important part. The show, it's like being happy, right?
yeah,
You practice and then now and then you get to be happy.
yeah.
It's not the happiness, it's the practice in order to be satisfied. That's what you're doing. And so I think that I recognize that more from my art now too. It's a practice. It's a
Mm,
daily practice, as meditation was, or as yoga was, or as prayer is. Art is the same thing. Just like writing. If I was a writer, and I'm not a writer, if I was a writer, it's the day to day. George
mhm.
says, you
Yeah.
write every day.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter what. And when the kids were little, and we went on holidays, he still wrote every morning. He never
Mm,
did. Every day he wrote. And I wanted to say that during those 150 shows that I went to with Jordan, and I was there present for at we think about 150 shows. So I sat through his biblical series, and I traveled the world, and I went to all the lectures. And then when I had this prognosis and this change of philosophy, change of attitude, I think that in part is thanks to all of those lectures that I listened to. I think that all of the knowledge that I got from his books, and I listened to the audiobooks when he
mm,
recorded Maps of Meaning and 12 Rules. I listened to those. I went to the studio with him every day and listened to all of those. So I think that my change of attitude and speaking about this, I have a lot of gratitude for all of the time that I was present with him and listening and learning.
mm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I have a question about that because I've listened to hundreds of hours of Jordan Peterson's lectures, like a million young men out there, and felt very inspired by them. And when he disappeared, there was a sort of, almost like a desert, like it's like something's missing in the world. And now he's back, and you're both back, and it's just it's such an incredible story. I mean, it's like you've both died and been reborn in a sense. Like
Yeah, really. Yeah.
it's such an incredible story. And when I hear Jordan talk about God, he seems very he's not so like he says. I hope he exists, or I act like he exists, and but he doesn't seem to have taken it on fully like you have. Do I have that wrong, or
Well, I don't know. I think he just may not quite have access to it the way I have access to it. And I hope, well,
but
for
he
him,
gives a lot of people access to that, it seems to me
yeah,
anyway. Or
yeah,
he's brought a lot of people there,
yeah.
in one way or another, in small ways, and maybe in your experience, large ways. But it almost seems like, um, I almost feel like I want that for him as well, or something.
Oh,
Does that
sure.
sound
Yeah,
wrong?
that
Or
would be good. But I'm sure that his tremendous focus that he put into his work in this way had something to do with his yearning for a relationship. I'm guessing, but I'm yearning for a relationship with God, that was never easy for him, and so he, looked everywhere for it to
yeah.
make sense of life, and he gave that to everyone now, many many different ways to look at it and to find the divine.
Yeah, because you were sitting in the hospital and this woman came next to you and offered you the Hail Mary prayer, and you said, "Why
Hmm.
not?" you know,
Hmm.
that's different than this Herculean struggle your husband seems to have with God, or you're just like,
Yeah,
"Why not?" I mean, I
yeah,
know
why
you've been
not?
through your struggle as well, but
By then, though, although it was quite a struggle, i was I spent a lot of time just being grateful that my family was around me, that I was in a hospital, that people were trying. They didn't know what to do, but they were trying. And uh, I don't know, it's a very strange because I really feel like the illness that I went through was a learning experience for sure. It was my learning experience. You know, I've had trials before, but this trial was profound. And
I think learning experience is not strong enough a way of putting what you've been through. I mean, you came very close to death, right? And you came back. I mean, you describe it yourself as a death and rebirth experience, right? I mean, that's what you said.
Yeah, you know, it was, well, when I had surgery, the surgery went well.
Uh-huh.
I was, you know, I was relieved, and I thought I would probably live at that point. So from then on, it was more a matter of how much I was going to suffer in my life from then on. Because I was in quite an uncomfortable position to have tubes coming out of me for my body fluids, and having that maybe be the way I was going to live. So although, I mean, I think my attitude changed like a life and death experience, but
you
myself.
I mean, okay. You also spoke about how your healing process was an imaginal kind of thing. Like, it wasn't just that the doctors healed you, but there was some spiritual process going on that you were working with this whole time. Like, you talked about white light and gold light and that kind of thing. And it seems like that kind of an experience is something that people in the modern world, or people who don't have access to that, you know, are impoverished, because they think of the body as just this machine that you try to fix, but there's obviously more going on there.
I think that there is. For instance, this morning I was doing yoga and I was meditating at the end of it. Oh no, it was a little mindful meditation that I did this morning for 15 minutes. And I was told to breathe in and to focus on one part of my body. And I have some nerve pain in my left foot that's was caused by the trauma that my body went through, and it's never reconciled. So I put my focus there, and I could make my foot hot. You know, I could pay attention to my foot, and it really became the most present thing. And I'm hoping that if I do that every day, that it'll heal.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. So we'll see.
I think that sort of experience has become educated out of people. I remember when I was a kid, I used to get these incredible headaches at school, and I could make them go away by dissolving them in gold and things like that. Like sort of experiences that, and that just came to me. Like I wasn't taught it by anything, but I think we're capable of so much more in our minds than we actually think.
Well, the whole mindful meditation, the idea that to be present with your breath gives you a space, a little bit of space to be with God, because as many people have said, that God is in the space between words and in the breath. You know, it's not what we say, it's the moment between what we say. That's where God is.